Back in 2019, October, I became Pakistan's first Google developer expert in machine learning. And obviously, in return of that, what you're doing is you're helping them build that tech community around, and obviously to create awareness in the tech community about some of Google technologies as well. I started working at a startup, Kurdistan. Then I switched my role in that startup company to machine learning engineer. He was excited about it. I am happy that someone from Pakistan is working on this technology. It was a new technology. So उन्होंने कहा कि आप Firebase के ऊपर talk दें. Initially, I was like, I'm not doing this. I was nervous. I didn't know कि इतनी कम लड़कियां जाती हैं. There are very few jobs for electrical engineers in cities. And I was one of the must hires.
अच्छा.
लेकिन वही next time, next year when I gave the interview, I didn't pass it. कौन किसका interview हुआ, किसने pass किया test. Like there's just this so much competition. Steve Jobs and people admire all of those people, right? Mark Zuckerberg. आप उनको admire करते हो. But we're not ready to put that effort, right? To follow that path. Yeah, and it's usually around, अच्छा ये दोनों साथ आ रहे हैं, दोनों साथ जा रहे हैं. And then you hear some questions like, आप लोग साथ रहते हैं. So then they'll get to know कि अच्छा क्यों साथ रह रहे हैं. I think पहले से ज़्यादा अब, because now we have a lot more working women, right? तो अब I think वो एक question काफ़ी ज़्यादा लोगों के लिए तो वो एक बिल्कुल question बन जाता है कि अच्छा job or this. अब corporates में तो ये बहुत एक common story होती है कि there's too much competition, right? मतलब अगली promotion किसकी होगी, क्या होगा, और उस चक्कर में आपस में लोग बहुत compete कर रहे होते हैं. My father was the only one, who was up for it. Start off इस तरह हुआ था कि I started to read about how Facebook works and how Netflix works. And it was just mind-blowing.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to another episode of How Does It Work, a podcast by Pro Pakistani. Today we have Aqsa Kausar on the show. She's Pakistan's first female Google developer expert and also the head of artificial intelligence and machine learning at Red Buffer. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting.
Acha, so pehle to, for our audience to understand a little bit, can you walk us through all of your, mashallah, achievements one by one and explain what they are and why they're, so special?
Okay, so I guess jo sabse main hai, the one that picked up some hype as well. And that's also been, the starting point for a lot of other things that came after that. Is the Google Developer Expert title. So back in 2019, October, I became Pakistan's first Google Developer Expert in machine learning.
First female or first total?
First in machine learning.
Acha.
And first female.
Wow, okay.
And also the first female GDE in machine learning in Southeast Asia frontier region.
Acha.
So that's the 4 countries. You have Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. So वो जो frontier region आपका बनता है उसमें
in this entire region you were the first female
GDE in ML.
Okay. ML is machine learning and GD is Google Developer Expert, right? Just for our audiences that don't.
Yes.
Acha, theek hai.
So just explaining Google Developer Expert a bit more. So this is basically Google आपको एक expertise के लिए recognize करता है, right? So there are GDEs in machine learning, there are GDEs in cloud, there are GDEs in Android. So basically Google की technologies जो हैं उसके around. So when we say machine learning, so that obviously Google का जो machine learning का framework है, that's TensorFlow. So it was around that. तो उसमें it's a two-way relationship. So they have this because they recognize you for the expertise, and then secondly they support you in building a community around it, right? They support you in the growth of the tech community around you for that particular technology, right? And उसमें फिर obviously you have the support from Googlers, you have support, for example, अगर आप कोई research project कर रहे हैं, you need servers, you need any kind of support from Googlers, तो वो आपको उसमें देते हैं. अगर आपको किसी और region से someone invites you to speak, on a certain topic related to that technology, so, they pay for your travel, they pay for all of those things. So they support in all of that, financially भी और आपके audience reach में भी. And obviously in return of that, what you're doing is you're helping them build that tech community around, and obviously to create awareness in the tech community about some of Google technologies as well. कि okay, ये चीज़ें हैं, these are some of the new technologies Google has. They can be used in this way, etc., etc. So वो adoption of those technologies में भी आप help कर रहे होते हो. So that's what you are doing for Google as well. And in return, obviously, you get connected to the GDE का जो network है around the globe. And obviously, फिर Google की तरफ से there are trainings for GDEs as well from time to time. कोई नई चीज़ आती है, कोई रिलीज़ होने से पहले वो कभी आपको बता देते हैं, उस पर आपका फीडबैक ले लेते हैं, या they link you with specific Googlers if you need help on a certain thing. So the network is really good. So that's an honor.
And how many people are lucky enough to have this honor? How hard is it to get? And also, how do you apply for it?
Okay, so how many we have? I'd say around the globe अगर आप देखें और सारी technologies को देखें जिसमें about like 15, 20, max 25 different technologies होंगी और इस सब में Google developer experts होंगे all across the globe. So I think the strength is around 100, 150.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a good network. And up to और ज़्यादा grow होना शुरू होगा because there are just so many more technologies coming in. And it's an invite-only program.
Acha.
So
so it's a very exclusive club.
So I think that's also the reason that a lot of people didn't know about it. Even I didn't know about it, right?
And how did you find out? Like, can you describe a little bit of the day you found out? How did they just reach out to you?
No. So basically, Pakistan's first GDE was Saad Hamid, if you've heard of him.
I know Saad Hamid, yeah.
So, but he was a GDE in a different category. So I'm a graduate of NASA. I did electrical, लेकिन और मैंने उसके बाद in the December of, after like an 8 months gap, I started working at a startup, Kurdistan. And initially I started off as an embedded systems engineer, but फिर उनके पास एक वो they wanted someone to do some research around machine learning for this game app that they were developing. So मुझे उस AI का already idea था. I was also interested in it. So I took on that opportunity. I started the research around that. So उसमें फिर it's start off इस तरह हुआ था कि I started to read about how Facebook works and how Netflix works. And it was just mind-blowing. Like उनके research के around पढ़ना and just, understanding. And this is 4-5 years back, right? So this is even before 2019. So this is 2017, 2018 we're talking about. And उस time पे AI इतनी ज़्यादा hyped में नहीं थी. It was there, but not इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं थी. And इधर की countries में एशिया में तो adoption और पाकिस्तान में तो बहुत कम आपको सुनने को मिलता था. तो I was just blown away by, क्या किस तरह वो systems बने हुए. It was just too interesting, right? And उसके बाद फिर मैंने, I did a lot of self-learning. So I do like to say I'm pretty much Andrew Ng built. क्योंकि उस वक्त Coursera
What does that
पे
mean? If you can explain it to our audience.
So he's a famous professor भी कह लें, researcher भी कह लें, and machine learning में, he's one of the pioneers. And so Coursera के ऊपर एक course था machine learning का.
अच्छा.
And मुझे याद है कि उस time पे it wasn't in Python. वो MATLAB में course था, Octave में course था. मतलब the two languages जिसमें अब के कोई machine learning के लोग नहीं काम करते. But like this is, so उस time पे ये position थी. तो मैंने वो course लिया and I did a lot of self-learning. And then I switched my role in that startup company to machine learning engineer. I started to work with them on the game app that they were building. तो उसमें जो उन्हें intelligence डालनी थी, so I was working around those things. And उसी के around, because it was a startup, and जब startup एक छोटे stage पर होता है, you're usually taking more than one role as
Different
an engineer,
hats.
right? Yeah. So उसमें फिर I was also working with, databases. So I started to work with Firebase. So Firebase is one of Google's technologies as well, and it was new at that time. तो और हम as a startup, हम NIC Islamabad में incubated थे. So there were a lot of other startups as well. And Saad Hamid was there as well.
And it was exciting, I assume, for lots of learning.
Yes. So he got to know that there's someone who's working on Firebase. And so he was excited about it. I am happy that, someone from Pakistan is working on this technology. It was a new technology. And उस वक्त GDG का एक GDG group is Google Developers Group. So Saad was heading it. तो उसका एक इवेंट होने वाला था, तो ही पुश्ड मी दैट you should give a talk. So
What would you talk about?
it was about Firebase. तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप Firebase के ऊपर टॉक दें. Initially तो I was like, I'm not doing this. But he supported me a lot. He said कि it encouraged me a lot on this. कि this is a new technology. You'll be encouraging other people to explore this, and it's a good opportunity. So just do it, right? And he'll help me along with that. तो वो किया उन्होंने हेल्प ही किया, मतलब सारा कुछ प्रेजेंटेशन प्रिपेयर करने में. एंड so I was not a public speaker.
How do you think you did the first time around?
Were
you nervous?
I was nervous. एंड मेरा वो वाला सीन था कि अच्छा रिकॉर्ड भी की थी मैंने अपनी प्रिपेयर करते हुए, फिर अपने आप को सुना भी था. एंड शीशे के सामने खड़े हो गए, आई एम ट्राइंग टू सी हाउ आई एम स्पीकिंग. तो वो वाली सारी चीज़ें थी. एंड जस्ट ट्राइंग टू मतलब मेमोराइज एवरीथिंग, राइट. वो रट्टा लगाने की कोशिश कर रही थी मैं.
और जब दिन आया, how do you think it went?
आई थिंक वो रियलाइज हो जाता है कि रट्टा नहीं चलता, स्पेशली इस तरह की चीज़ों में. मतलब बट दैट्स हाउ फार आई वॉज फ्रॉम पब्लिक स्पीकिंग एंड दीज थिंग्स. बट इट वेंट वेल. एंड उस इवेंट के बाद they came back to me and said कि हमने जो ऑडियंस से फीडबैक लिया था, so your talk was rated second.
Wow.
So that was good. That was something.
And from what I can tell, there's a lot of self-learning in this. और इस तरह की बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं.
Yes.
You mentioned Nast as well. Let's talk about like your childhood a little. ठीक है? Were you always a good student, firstly?
Yes.
Always top of your class?
Yes.
अच्छा. और आपको मतलब
I was fond of learning.
अच्छा.
I was fond of learning.
अच्छा. और आपने पढ़ी किधर, मतलब हाई स्कूल किधर किया?
Beacon.
Beacon.
So Beacon से किया है primary, O levels, A levels.
सब.
All Beacon.
ठीक है.
And I was fond of learning. मुझे math बहुत पसंद था. I was fond of math. I was fond of physics. मैथ तो किसी को भी पसंद नहीं होता, सो वो एक अनयूजुअल चीज़ थी.
मुझे तो बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं था.
बट आई यूज्ड टू रियली लाइक इट. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता था कि उस ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व थिंग्स थ्रू मैथमेटिक्स, ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम्स. यहाँ पे ये होगा, ये होगा. आई वाज फॉन्ड ऑफ लर्निंग.
And women generally are, women in tech is a very new thing in the world. Pakistan में तो उससे भी कम. At what age did you know you wanted to be, an engineer of sorts? Because it's not exactly common, right, for girls. At least it wasn't, or is becoming more common now. So was that ever in the back of your mind? Engineering class में O levels में कम लड़कियाँ होंगी, या नस में कम लड़कियाँ होंगी, या कुछ इस तरह था, या not really?
था. दिमाग में ये चीज़ थी, बट उतनी ज़्यादा नहीं थी जितनी एक्चुअली एंड में हुई, राइट. मतलब आई डेंट नो कि इतनी कम लड़कियाँ जाती हैं. So I think मुझे around like 7th-8th grade, या अगर बहुत ही आगे भी लेके जाएं तो I think O levels I knew कि I'm like a math physics person. तो मुझे ये पता था कि मैं डॉक्टर नहीं बन रही हूँ. वो मुझे पता था कि अच्छा मैं डॉक्टर नहीं बन रही हूँ. बट A levels में मैंने बायो नहीं ली थी, so I just had these 3 subjects: chemistry, physics, maths. तो उसमें आई वॉज फोकस्ड. एंड आई वॉज जो ये मैं करना चाहती थी essentially was robotics. So I was interested in robotics. So I was already interested in this idea कि आप human intelligence को replicate कर रहे हो, right? You're trying to make something that's as intelligent as a human or close to it, or is doing the tasks that जो humans कर रहे होते हैं, right? जो आप normally आप machines से नहीं expect कर रहे होते. So I was already interested in that idea of intelligence and robotics and all of that. And that also formed the basis of why I went into electrical, because मुझे था कि I'm going to do electrical and then I'm going to go for MS in robotics.
Did you?
So no, I did not.
Why not?
उसके बाद नस्ट के बाद मुझे पहले ये था कि okay, I want to work for some time, like मैं 1 साल काम करूँ, and then उसके बाद साल बाद I will go for masters.
Okay.
So ये चीज़ थी. And even though like I was a top student नस्ट में भी, लेकिन वो एक शुरू से चल रहा था ना बचपन से, टॉप. नस्ट के बाद for 8 months I couldn't land a job.
अच्छा.
Yeah, I couldn't land a job.
Why?
I just couldn't.
As in,
I would
were
get
you bad
to
at interviewing? Was that the issue?
No, I don't think that was the issue. I think एक तो ये था कि there are very few jobs for electrical engineers in cities, right? इस्लामाबाद में तो बहुत ज़्यादा कम है. I didn't want to move to other areas like Karachi. I didn't want to move क्योंकि I wanted to find something
close to home.
Close to home.
आपके घर वाले इधर ही रहते हैं इस्लामाबाद में?
Yes.
What do they do? What do your parents do?
So अभी तो they are retired. So बाकी my elder brother is a computer science engineer. He's a graduate of FAST.
Is he smart too? Does it run in the family?
I think he'll disagree that he's smart. But I guess but he's good at what he does, right? He's good at what he does. लेकिन वो वाली जो चीज़ है ना कि अच्छा बचपन से एक बच्चा चल रहा होता है, ये वाला स्मार्ट बच्चा है. He wasn't that, but he's doing good. He's working at a great company जो कि Epic Games के साथ linked है.
Wow.
So that's good. My elder sister is a doctor.
अच्छा, mashallah. So it is a family of geniuses of sorts.
Then my younger sister, she did BBA.
अच्छा.
तो उसको हमने कहा ये भी मुश्किल है, ये भी मुश्किल है.
सब छोड़ो, relax.
By her time, I think वो she could see कि अच्छा इसमें क्या होता है, इसमें क्या होता है, इसमें क्या होता है.
What not to do वाली
What
बात.
not to do.
ठीक है.
तो she went for BBA and I think एक जो चीज़ है वो उस मेरी छोटी बहन में भी और मुझ में भी and I think मेरे भाई में भी वो ये थी कि there are a lot of like undiscovered skills, right? So I could मतलब 10 years ago अगर कोई मुझे कहता कि भाई आपने पब्लिक स्पीकिंग करनी है, आपने 100 लोगों के आगे बोलना है, I am not going to do that.
Do you think that phase जहाँ आपके जैसे आपने कहा कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें आपने सीखी, do you think that phase of because आपने टॉप किया स्कूल में, यूनिवर्सिटी में, हर जगह, that little period in your life of failure जो जॉब नहीं लैंड हो रही थी 7-8 महीने, do you think you learned something during that phase and was that an important part of your life?
Yes, I think वो एक setback important था.
क्यों?
Because things are not always going to be linked to your grades or what's your profile been before that, and like there's obviously something else as well that companies are looking for, right? It's not just what's on your resume. There's something else as well. मैंने internship अपनी जब की थी तो मैंने internship एंग्रो में की थी.
अच्छा.
And मुझे और वो अपने interns को ना categorize करते थे. So like no hire, we'll pass this batch again through the entire process, and then we have must hires. इनका सिर्फ हम final interview लेंगे. And I was one of the must hires.
अच्छा.
लेकिन वही next time, next year when I gave the interview, I didn't pass it. And like there were people who were passing it, and I felt like that, एक आप वो भी हो रहा था, what क्या मसला है, what's missing, what's there, what do we need to change. And not just that, but I guess वो एक अगर वो setback नहीं होता, I would have never been where I am today. मैं ML की तरफ भी कभी ना जाती शायद. मैं OC electrical कि मुझे जॉब मिल जाती, I would have stayed in that comfort zone. I wouldn't have been someone who would take the risk of something, right? So जब 8 months के बाद I landed a job at a startup, उस वक्त भी मुझे ये था कि okay, मैंने ये join कर लिया है, but like I'm just gonna leave this job as soon as I find something. और एक जो चीज़ पाकिस्तान में बहुत ज़्यादा होती है वो जो कॉर्पोरेट वाली चीज़ और बिग कंपनीज आपके दिमाग में डाली जाती हैं, एंड यू लिंक दैट टू सक्सेस, राइट?
ऑफ कोर्स यूनिवर्सिटी में आपको समझाया जाता है कि ये 7-8 कंपनीज हैं, इनमें से आपने जॉब करनी है.
सटली वो हो रहा होता है, स्कूल से लेके यूनिवर्सिटी तक वो हो रहा होता है. आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी में जितनी ये ड्राइव्स हो रही होती हैं, हायरिंग ड्राइव्स हो रही होती हैं, पेप्सी इज़ कमिंग, शेल इज़ कमिंग, एंड देन कौन किसका इंटरव्यू हुआ, किसने पास किया टेस्ट, लाइक there's just this so much competition, and I think वो एक mindset बन जाता है लोगों का कि अच्छा अगर आप इस कंपनी में नहीं गए हैं, इस तरह की कंपनी में नहीं गए हैं, तो you're not successful, या आप सक्सीड कर ही नहीं पाएंगे, या आप सक्सेसफुल हो ही नहीं सकेंगे. एंड इसकी वजह से जो एक और mindset आपका बनता है, वो ये बनता है कि okay, you know, people want to go into companies that already have a big names.
Of course.
So वो वाला जो mindset है ना कि okay, you're gonna go somewhere and you're gonna make it big, right? You're gonna put that effort to make it big enough. वो नहीं आता. Even though we hear about all the people, अच्छा हम Shell के CEO के बारे में सुनेंगे, हम you know Steve Jobs and people admire all of those people, right? You know Mark Zuckerberg. आप उनको admire करते हो, but we're not ready to put that effort, right? To get to follow that path. We want to join all the companies जो already बनी हुई हैं, you know, just go there, उधर हम settle हो जाएं, उधर हम आहिस्ता आहिस्ता grow करें, वो वाली सारी चीज़. So I think वो वाली जो चीज़ है वो मेरे दिमाग में वहाँ से निकली थी उसके बाद.
And you're currently working at Red Buffer, and जिस तरह आपने अभी कहा आप उसको बड़ा करना चाहती हैं, and you're sort of paving a new way. उस पर मैं आता हूँ. First I wanted to ask a question that you now run a department, right? What do you look for in employees, and also what do you tell them? You know, अभी आपने जिस तरह अपने experiences के बारे में बताया कि sort of एक brain washing होती है of sorts university में. What one, how do you get that top talent, and two, what do you look for in them?
Learning. Yeah, they should be motivated to learn, right? I think that's one thing that's common in everybody at Red Buffer, right? आप corporates में तो ये बहुत एक common story होती है कि there's too much competition, right? मतलब अगली promotion किसी होगी, क्या होगा, और उस चक्कर में आपस में लोग बहुत compete कर रहे होते हैं. And I think I'll be very proud to say that we don't have that at Red Buffer. We just don't. It's just magically, you know, not there. Everybody's helping everybody. आपको नहीं feel होगा किसी भी point पे. And मतलब anybody can visit Red Buffer and you know वो खुद देख सकते हैं इस चीज़ को और लोगों से भी verify कर सकते हैं जो वहाँ पे employees हैं. But आपको ये चीज़ नहीं feel होगी that you know आप compete कर रहे हो अपने साथ बैठे बंदे से. So everybody is, you know, trying to learn from the other person. And that's why they want to be at Red Buffer as well. Because एक learning आपकी उस काम से होगी जो आपने खुद करना है. But उससे ज़्यादा learning आपकी उससे होगी जो आपके इर्द गिर्द लोग हैं. उनसे आप क्या learn कर रहे हो, right? So someone may be good at a certain XYZ. तो जब आप उधर stuck होगे, you know, you can always go in. And so that culture of learning and helping, you know, your colleagues in work, and just वो competition नहीं है आपका, you know, it's not about okay, you know, the next promotion is for that person or that person. No, हर बंदा individually judge हो रहा है, right? If you're good fit for a certain role, you know, and if you're good fit for a completely different role, so we are open to all of those things, right? And इस तरह की चीज़ें हुई भी हैं. So we have had QAs who have then eventually moved to machine learning because they wanted to. And that can only happen when you have that environment जहाँ पे आपको ये freedom है कि you know you can learn the skills that you want to learn. If you have that learning motivation, then Red Buffer is the place for you.
And how did you join Red Buffer?
I joined Red Buffer. So I had worked in Kurdistan for about 2 years, and then I was looking to switch. Kurdistan में जो एक चीज़ मुझे feel होती थी वो ये था कि I couldn't learn from a team of ML engineers. So तब तक वो ML की hype भी बढ़ना शुरू हो गई थी. And I just wanted to work with more people who knew ML. And Kurdistan में वो चीज़ नहीं मुझे मिल रही थी. So there were, you know, उनका ज़्यादा focus जो था वो mobile application, marketing, websites और इन चीज़ों के ऊपर था. So ML was like completely new thing there. और उसमें मैं या एक, you know, one more person was working. So I wanted to work with, you know, a broader team of जहाँ से, you know, for the same reason that I wanted to learn. So that's when I applied to Red Buffer. I joined as a machine learning engineer, and that's 10th January 2019.
Okay. And that's what, 3 years, or how long till you became the head of that department?
I think 3.5 years.
I see. And
I've had some, you know, fast jumps.
Yeah. So how old are you?
I am 29.
29, mashallah. So they're very young, and this is all happening quite quickly for you. Let me ask you a few questions in relation to now being sort of a woman in tech, जिस तरह कहते हैं ना, तो in for example your team, how many female employees are there?
Like overall Red Buffer or just the machine learning team?
पहले overall कर लेते हैं.
I actually do not have a count.
No, it doesn't. So
I
is
think,
does it feel like a man's world or not really?
अगर आप strength wise कहेंगे तो मतलब if you enter and you see तो आप you will say that कि you know it looks like a man's world. But if you spend some time around that, तो you see that no, that bias does not exist. Because we have women in some really good roles, right? So our head of operations is a woman, our HR manager is a woman, our resource manager is a woman. We have female, project managers जिनका 7-8 साल का experience है or more. So जहाँ पे आपके engineers, web team is really male dominated.
But isn't that everywhere in Pakistan?
Yeah, that's everywhere. So that's not a hiring bias. It's not. It's just that less women show up for hirings.
So
But
if you were to hire, would you set a quota for women, or is that just, do you think that it should be based on merit and experience and capabilities?
We do encourage more women participation.
Okay.
But it not at the expense of being unfair to another candidate, right? So let's say, for example, you have two really talented candidates, and one of them is a male, one of them is a woman. So most ideally, we'll hire both, right?
Good answer.
We wouldn't let that talent get away. So we will encourage women participation as well. But yeah, we try to keep that in mind. It should not be unfair to someone else who's obviously putting in the exact same amount of effort, going through similar things or their own struggles, right? So वो gender bias introduction नहीं है, but women participation, encouragement, more women in tech, so that's there. And we have had women in senior roles, senior machine learning roles, senior project manager roles. So we have had that. So and उसका obviously एक reason ये भी है that it's a very comfortable environment for women. I think that's a very big plus for Red Buffer.
That's great. Acha, so I have one more question related to something we were talking offline before, and I told you that I'd bring up. So, you're married?
Yes.
Acha, where'd you meet your husband?
Red Buffer.
Acha, ये क्या story है? हमें थोड़ा सा walk us through what happened. Is he also an engineer, like a AI, ML, उस team में है या नहीं?
No, he's in the same team.
He's in the same team?
Yes.
Acha, so technically you also are his boss?
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. So, okay.
So
how did that happen?
So he's an exceptional husband. So he's very supportive.
Yeah.
With respect to my dreams and passions around it. How we met? We actually, so he was at Red Buffer as well. जैसे मैंने join की थी, उसके कुछ time बाद he joined.
अच्छा.
And हमारे जो current CTO हैं, उनकी wedding पे basically,
You guys.
जिस तरह group में आपकी बातचीत शुरू हो जाती है, so उस तरह बातचीत शुरू हुई. And I think 6 months down that, yeah. So.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. So, and he also works in the same thing. So, are you guys always talking about like machine learning? How do you separate? So, I work with my wife as well. So, just for like perspective, when does the office end and your personal life begin? Is that a challenge for you sometimes?
No.
Not at all.
So. ऑफिस में आई थिंक काफ़ी जो नए लोग हैं उन्हें तो पता भी नहीं लगता बिकॉज हमारा इवन तो आई एम हेडिंग द डिपार्टमेंट बट वी हैव मल्टीपल प्रोजेक्ट्स गोइंग ऑन
ऑफ कोर्स
राइट एंड बिकॉज इट्स अ सर्विसेज बेस्ड कंपनी वी गिव सर्विसेज टू USA यूरोप पाकिस्तान डिफरेंट प्लेसेस और उसमें हर प्रोजेक्ट को कोई ना कोई लीड कर रहा होता है राइट सो फॉर हिम ही इज़ लीडिंग हिज ऑन प्रोजेक्ट्स So it's not a day-to-day interaction on, kya kaam hua, what's the update. So that's not there. So when someone's leading, we are all obviously making them a lead because we trust them for that. तो वो उस तरह चल रहा होता है. So जो नए लोग हैं उन्हें they take some time to figure out कि okay, yeah, and it's usually around अच्छा ये दोनों साथ आ रहे हैं, दोनों साथ जा रहे हैं. And then you hear some questions like, आप लोग साथ रहते हैं? So then they'll get to know कि अच्छा क्यों साथ रह रहे हैं? So but office start and I think if ऑफिस से जब तक हम घर पहुंचते हैं तब तक ऑफिस
खत्म
कि
हो
कोई
चुका होता
टॉक भी हो तो वो
गाड़ी में हो
वहाँ
जाती
तक
है।
गाड़ी में हो जाती है एंड बाय द टाइम वी रीच होम इट्स नो ऑफिस बट या ही इज बीन वेरी एक्सेप्शनली सपोर्टिव
यही बात पे मैंने टच करना था कि यू नो हाउ दे से बिहाइंड एवरी यू नो इन्फ्लुएंशियल मैन देयर इज अ वुमन एक्सेट्रा देयर इज अ argument to be made as well ke there's a lot of support that goes into you know your successes both from your family and from your husband. How important do you think that support has been for you, and do you think that everyone gets that sort of support?
अनफॉर्चुनेटली पीपल डोंट गेट इट कोई ना कोई होता है कहीं ना कहीं दैट्स जो ब्लॉकर बन रहा होता है राइट एंड आई वुडेंट से कि मतलब आई डेंट हैव एनी ऑफ सच ब्लॉकर्स बट मतलब जिस तरह आई रिमेंबर जब मैंने एंग्रो की इंटर्नशिप के लिए जाना था तो माई फादर वॉज द ओनली वन हु वाज अप फॉर इट
Acha, why?
And everyone else was like, my mom was like super scared to send me away for the first time, जैसे moms होती हैं. And then obviously वो आप एक field में जा रहे हो, then it's going to be a completely male dominated. 17 घंटे दूर है, so वो they think a lot around that. पता नहीं कैसे रहेगी, क्या करेगी, कभी रही नहीं है अकेले, and like all of those things. So even though I'm a middle child, I think I'm still pretty pampered. But उसमें फिर वो but my father supported me on that. He said no, she should go. So you need someone, right, to push you for things. To आपको एक वो constant वो चाहिए होता है कि अच्छा यार कोई आप में confidence डालने की कोशिश कर रहा होता है, right? And उस time में that age उसमें बहुत important होता है when you're in your university and you're going to start job कुछ साल बाद वो जो part होता है उसमें I think बहुत important होता है कि आप को कोई confidence build करने की कोशिश कर रहा हो आप में, right? And I think for me and obviously उसमें फिर mindsets भी change होते हैं because when I went and when I came back so it was different. मेरी फैमिली के लिए वो एक चीज़ चेंज हुई कि ओके नो she did it. And then उसके बाद फिर eventually मैं एक machine learning boot camp पे गई थी to Singapore. It was by Google. तो उस पर obviously that time my family supported me कि ओके ठीक है जाओ अकेली out of country पहली दफ़ा जा रही है but we know that she'll be doing it. फिर एक second point जो आता है I think for a girl is when she's about to get married.
That's an important part.
वो तो आप for a lot of people it becomes like
like choosing the right life partner, obviously his family, all of that, they need to be
job कर
supported.
सकोगे कि नहीं. And I think पहले से ज़्यादा अब because now we have a lot more working women, right? तो अब I think वो एक question काफ़ी ज़्यादा लोगों के लिए तो वो एक बिल्कुल question बन जाता है कि अच्छा job or this, right? And so उसमें I think it is important that आप job करते हो नहीं करते हो that's your own आपका वो personal preference है, but it's important to have a partner who will give you that freedom, right? So no forceful job and no job. And उसमें फिर obviously बहुत सारी और चीज़ें आती हैं. अगर आप भी 9 to 6 जॉब कर रहे हो तो अगला बंदा उस चीज़ को अंडरस्टैंड करता है कि नहीं करता. Do they have like super high expectations of कि आप 9 to 6 अगर जॉब कर रहे हो तो नहीं आपने वो जो 9 to 9 या 12 to 12 घर को भी देखना है वो वाली सारी चीज़ें भी करना. So you need someone who understands all of that. So I think that's been very important in my life in the sense कि एक तो I've been very lucky उसमें कि मेरे so when my husband talks about it he says कि he likes to use that phrase कि I know your professional worth, right? And I think that's exactly what's important for your partner to know your professional worth, and that's and उसको वो support करें, right? So he supports that, and I think that's और वो चीज़ अगर नहीं होती तो आई वुडंट बी अहेड ऑफ AI. आपको एक कांस्टेंट कॉन्फिडेंस मिल रहा होता है even for things where I say this I don't think I can do this. For example, when head of AI wali cheez I felt
He
like
gave you the push.
I felt like I
But that's
couldn't
beautiful.
do
I mean,
this,
it's
right?
life partner, right? That's
Yeah.
the term jo Gore use karte hain. It makes sense, right? You're sort of building a life together.
Even for this. I don't know, I can't do this. So he's like, no, you can.
चलिए,
You can.
that's fantastic. अच्छा, मैं ज़्यादा आपका टाइम और नहीं लूँगा. Just a couple of questions. You've done quite a bit by 29. What do you want to do next, and why?
Abhi, though, I think the focus is on, just building a really good department at Red Buffer, just expanding that. Because people in Pakistan are super talented, right? और machine learning के अब जो नए लोग जो इस फील्ड में आ रहे हैं, they're very smart kids. I feel कि जो एक चीज़ कंपनीज में मिस आउट हो रही होती है, that's mentorship. Like you join the company, आपको टास्क मिलता है, आप करते हो, you go home doing the next task, but you're not getting someone who's giving you mentorship. So I think that's something जो कि मुझे लगता है कि that's something that I can help people with, right? And all the other team members in my team and all the people at Red Buffer who support this as well can help in that. So I feel like it's a great opportunity to bring those people on board, to give them that mentorship. And क्योंकि वही टैलेंट बेसिकली फिर एक्सपैंड हो रहा होता है, एंड वही लोग फिर जाके they're gonna open up their own companies, and we have had that as well. So I think in the past 6 months we have had 2x Red Buffer employees open up their own companies, right?
That's crazy.
And one of them is a woman.
Acha, that's fantastic. So you use the word mentor a lot. When you were growing up, who were your mentors or who were your inspirations?
So I wouldn't say it was one person.
Okay, could be several.
So मेरा हमेशा से इस तरह का रहा है कि ओके मैं जिस environment में हूँ उसमें जो लोग हैं, whether it's office, whether it's home, whether it's friends, so what can I learn from them, right? So हर किसी में मुझे कोई ना कोई ऐसी चीज़ ज़रूर मिलती थी that I would admire, right? हर किसी में. तो मुझे I would like to so they were all an inspiration for me in one way or the other, right? So वो जो भी है वो इर्द गिर्द जिस तरह भी है, so and it's continuing, right? So even today,
And now you're an inspiration for some younger girls and so on and so forth, circle of life.
And अभी भी मतलब the people around me, Red Buffer में जो लोग, and it's not just about the people above you कि अच्छा आपका head कौन है, आपका boss कौन है. It's also you learn a lot from your juniors as well. You learn a lot. It's a two-way relationship.
And it's a learning environment where
आप सीखते हो, so all of those people, whether that's my family, friends, whether that's my new home, my new family, my husband, so I'm learning from all of them. So they all have things that I admire in them. और फिर मुझे होता है कि this is something that I should adopt. This is something that I should learn.
Perfect. So this wasn't that bad, was it?
No, this wasn't that bad.
It was all right? Okay.
It was all right.
Chelly, thank you very much for being on the podcast, and thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel.